Final topic for the day, guys.
Stop. You have no more ads.
Okay.
But we do need to thank our patrons.
Oh, thank you, patrons.
We slept on. We're doing 2 months here because we slept on the first because of GDC packs, everything else.
No,
so thanks for all your support.
So they're scrolling along.
They are
doing their thing.
It's not that violent.
I think they're coming this way.
Actually, they go up and down. You've never watched the show, have you?
Never.
Jesus
not once.
Christ.
All right. So every week we tweet out. We ask you guys to give us your topics, and then we'll discuss them. We got a bunch of them today. I'm pretty excited about these. The first one is...
Who do they tweet at?
They tweet at...
You. They tweet you a lot.
They tweet at me. They tweet Kind of Funny Vids.
All right, just trying to get them involved. Some kid's watching right now.
He knows what's up, dude.
Driving his mom to a doctor's appointment. She's got a fucking thing on her foot. We're kind of scared. That's going to be okay. Don't worry, Mom.
Damn. All right. At Martin Swagger says, screen looking and other forms of gamesmanship / cheating.
Yeah.
What's okay and what isn't? Is there a time and place for it?
Multiplayer. Cheating is never acceptable in multiplayer.
Alfredo takes shit hella seriously.
It's just not. Like if it gets to the point where it affects not only your experience but the experience of others, I don't think that's acceptable. Yeah.
I mean, so you talking just competitive multiplayer?
No, just multiplayer in general. Like if doesn't have to be competitive. Like if you're doing something that is hindering everyone's experience, and that's not right.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be a screen sheet unless you're playing screen sheet, which is a game where you have to cheat to look at the screens, which is a great idea.
That is a great
Have you
idea.
seen this game?
I have seen it, yeah.
Oh,
is it out yet?
No. Or
is it like...
The console releases aren't out yet for sure. It might be out on PC. Screen sheet, everybody.
We should check that out.
Okay.
We should do a Let's Play on it.
Well, they wanted to come through and do one with us, but I forget why we couldn't do it.
Because I'm into that.
Okay.
That sounds like a fun idea. I'm all about looking at people's screens.
See, because you're a schemer. You're a horrible person.
Yeah.
You're the worst.
Uh-huh. That's what I do.
But I mean, like, the problem is, like, you can get good at it for sure, but, talent will still win out in the end.
Oh, yeah.
If you're taking that second to try to look over and see what Fredo's doing, it doesn't matter. Fredo's going to still be on top of you in no time. Or Colin's going to run up and shoot you as well. That was always the thing with GoldenEye. When you got GoldenEye, there was that in the camping, right? Mm-hmm. Where you're looking at a corner or whatever, and, like, you knew somebody was, like, in the facilities chilling, waiting, like, you know what I mean? Like, then you had to look at somebody's screens. Somebody's just looking in a stall. You're like, all right, what are you doing? Where are you?
Mm-hmm.
I have to deal with it every day in the form of, it's called stream sniping. When people just, like when I go back to this all the time because I play this a lot right now, but, like, H1Z1, right? Where it's just like last 10 people left. Sometimes people are just like, watching the stream, trying to see where I'm at in this.
Shut up.
Yeah,
because you're trying to like
all the time.
Even though there's a
hilarious.
delay in the stream, but you could still be trying to like hole up.
Yeah, but you're still holding up at that place for like maybe like a couple minutes. Yeah, there's a lot of times like there's a big open lobby, everyone's talking. There's a lot of time I like go to a corner and like someone would be running through town like Alfredo, and I'm like yeah. So
man,
yeah,
that's insane. I don't know about the internet changes things.
It does.
Because then if you're cheating on the internet, I feel like that's just not okay. Because like, you're not
local multiplayer cheating, you're fine with?
I think that's the thing. Is like if I like looking at people's screens, if it's obvious everyone's looking at people's screens. Like
yeah.
Back in the day,
they
with
have
split
everyone's
screen
consent.
Stuff. Yeah, and it's I like to just play not even consent, just like play the game differently. No matter what, you can't trust your friends. Your friends are assholes. They're looking at your screen.
True.
Oh, I'm not looking at your screen. Bullshit. Yeah, you are. You know you're looking at the screen. That's all you do. So it's like I remember back when we used to play Halo split screen. I would make sure that I knew where I was. I'd just look down, walk on the grass and stuff, so all the motherfuckers looking at me, you wouldn't know where I am.
Right.
I would do that. Or when I did 1v1s versus my younger brother, we just put a cardboard box right in the middle.
Oh,
What is
that's
that
a big one.
Yeah.
That's a big, you can't see.
Yeah. Just hide.
We used to do when we played Superman 64 multiplayer. I would go park in the game because the multiplayer was so bad. Of course,
Yeah.
the levels were so poorly designed, just like the rest of the game is. One of us would always go and park, and it would just be hide and seek because you had to go find it. Because you would just turn your character and like drive Brainiac's ship up against a purple wall, and so then you just ran around. You're flying around the level trying to find it. It was a very bad game.
Yeah, I think multiplayer is not acceptable. I think single
Why do you
player,
keep saying multi? Like, how are you cheating in single player? You're just talking about like
Using codes.
No, I mean like you just can't get past the part and using codes to beat it. It's like
you're hurting yourself. Who cares? You know
exactly.
what I mean?
Yeah,
that I don't
point
care
you're
about.
hurting
Do whatever
yourself.
you want. It's back to the whole drug argument. If you're using drugs, legalize all the drugs. You're just hurting yourself. You want to screw yourself up, big deal.
Yeah.
But don't ruin it for the people. Then the multiplayer comes into it.
No one can do drugs. All right.
Snaking, don't snake.
Bizzle 1096 wants us to talk about Battlefront with a lot of exclamation marks.
All right.
Yeah.
Battlefront's
So
coming.
it is coming.
I don't know how I feel about it.
Have we seen gameplay?
We have not seen gameplay.
No.
The trailer looks beautiful. I think you're going to be sadly mistaken if you think the game looks like that.
Yep.
But it's in engine.
No space battle.
Yeah.
Meh, I'm okay with that.
What?
I mean, that'll come eventually. I mean, that'll be the next one. I'd rather them focus on making it really good with all the on
the ground,
like atmosphere shit.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like once it gets like too grand, it's just like somewhere has to not be as good because there's not enough attention being brought to it. If they nail this, then next time nail that, that'll be fine.
Yeah.
So does anybody like who played the other Battlefronts? Any of us? Like
I played a little bit.
I mean, I played PSP
Just a
when I
little bit,
reviewed it and stuff, and I enjoyed it fine. But it's just like I had actually forgotten a lot of what Battlefront was until we were interviewing Chloe for Kind of Funny Games and stuff and talking to her about. I was like, oh right, that's how this works. Oh yeah, and it's just like that's cool, and it looks like it's gonna be really pretty. I don't know if I care. I don't know if I care about a 20v20 battle, but I'm not a multiplayer guy. Like that's well versed. I mean, you are. Are you excited? Are you gonna?
I'll pick it up. I'll play it. For how long? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really upset there's no campaign. I mean, I think that
It's not surprising.
it's not surprising, but I wanted it. I would have played through that campaign. That would have been a game that I'm definitely gonna. I want this experience, and they stole it from me.
Considering who's making it and
Yeah, it makes
the nature,
sense.
I think that's the biggest reason why you should be very skeptical of Battlefront. I know some people are mad at me for saying that, but DICE fucked up an entire fucking entire online game. It wasn't that long ago, and this game is going to be contingent on online, and this game is going to get slammed way harder on the server load than Battlefront.
Yeah,
Battlefield
definitely.
4 did. So,
Battlefield.
you know, so like, there's every reason to be, in my opinion, to be totally skeptical of this game. We'll see like how it. I'm skeptical. Developers have put me in such a way now that I'm just skeptical about everything. You know, and that's a healthy way to be. It's just like nothing works. So nothing's as good as it seems. Nothing works right.
Except Nintendo.
We had like even the single player games, like we had The Order. The Order was like such a fucking huge disappointment. It's not that we didn't see it coming. It's just like this is it. Like this is it.
Yeah.
This is the game. Like all right. It's good to be skeptical, and I think I'm very skeptical of Battlefront.
At JLY1987 asks, do Star Ocean 5, Xenoblade Chronicles X, and Persona 5 bring hope for JRPGs to come back, or is it a fluke? Colin.
I was surprised to see Tri-Ace making a game because there was rumors not too long ago that Tri-Ace was going to get shut down. So Tri-Ace is working on Star Ocean 5, so they're alive and well. No, I don't think any of those games matter to a broader audience except for Persona. Xenoblade is doing its thing and it's great and people are enjoying it. It just came out on the new 3DS, which is a port I think of the Wii game.
Yeah,
and they're making they'll make a new one, and people really like that. Monolith does those, right?
Yeah, this is the new one. X.
Oh, X. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, Monolith is working on that, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Persona obviously is going to be a huge game. I've said before, Persona 5 will sell millions of copies. And Star Ocean is a niche game. I think Star Ocean will do fine. Star Ocean's a good sign that Square Enix specifically is understanding more of what's going on. I think they're showing signs, glimmers of hope. Even Final Fantasy VII's re-release on PS4, which a lot of people are disappointed because it's not like really touched up or anything like that, is a sign that at least they're listening.
So dumb.
But between Bravely second and Bravely Default obviously, and then Star Ocean, they're getting back to their roots a little bit, which I think is a positive thing for role-playing gamers because I've gotten, some people are mad at me out there about what I say about JRPGs, but let's be honest. I mean, JRPGs largely are fucking terrible today. And I don't like I'm not a huge Metacritic fan, but just go to Metacritic and look at the scores some of these games are getting. Like literally like 25, 30, 35. Like some of these games are just trash, And Star Ocean's not going to be trash, and Persona's not going to be trash, and Bravely's not going to be trash. And finally, like we're getting away from these compile heart fucking
garbage,
just fucking garbage, like just
Ni no Kuni
almost
2?
Yeah, and there's rumors of Ni no Kuni 2 being in development at level 5, which is fucking awesome. Ni no Kuni, there you go. So like there's definitely hope. I don't think those games hearken necessarily to a better time in role playing games, but I think that things are getting better because it's been real dark for a while
Has it been real dark? I asked this, having a cursory knowledge of JRPGs, only the Persona series really ever catching me and capturing my attention for too long. But there's more bad ones, but there's still great ones.
Yeah, there are great ones. It's just I think that the exception to the rule were the bad ones back in the day, and I don't think that that's rose-tinted glasses. I've said it before. Like for every Beyond the Beyond or Saga Frontier, where like some of the bad games that came out, there were a lot of really great Japanese role-playing games during the SNES and PlayStation eras. They were constant. They were incessant. Like every few weeks, like it seemed like one would come out. Every month and a half. I mean, they were coming out constantly. Now you like the big guys and the little guys are disappointing everyone, or a lot of people. And so it seems like everything's kind of starting to get back on track. I think Ni no Kuni was the canary in the coal mine that things might get better because Ni no Kuni was just extraordinary. Ni no Kuni is the best Japanese role playing game that I played.
Oh,
in 10
drippy
years.
nose.
You know, so that game understood it. That game nailed it. And I'm excited to see Star Ocean come back. Tri-Ace is going to get another chance to make a game, and that's a positive. Yeah.
Good. At Nico Fugslang says, "Are you excited for Lego Dimensions? What franchises do you want to see in it? Should Activision and Disney be worried?" Am I excited? Yes. Am I going to play it? No. What franchises do I want in it? Ninja Turtles, Disney Princesses.
Disney Princesses, you're not gonna get.
They're a Lego thing.
Yeah, but well, I guess. But I mean, like, what about Disney Infinity?
Yeah,
Are they
Disney's
gonna
not
are
gonna-
they
Disney's
gonna
not
double
gonna-
down on that?
No, there's no way they'll do that.
That's
They
the
have their
whole
own
point, right?
properties
Yeah,
to-
they want you, the Frozen fan, creepy fan, to go buy the Frozen figures and put them out there. Am I interested in it? My initial answer was no. I don't. These toy games, no, thank you. I like the Lego games as they are. I buy a disc or a digital thing, and then I'm in the world and I have the toys there. And then I said, if they ever make a Superman or Ghostbusters, then I'd have to buy it. And people were like, they tease Ghostbusters, the trailer, and then I was like, well, I'm going to buy this then. If they put that out at launch, then yeah, I'll be a part of that to play that and have that. It's interesting. I think it's really going to boil down to, are they appealing to a different audience with it, right? Like, should Disney and Activision be scared? No. Skylanders is like an original IP, you know what I mean? It's just run rampant, you know what I mean? It has its hooks and everything. Disney's playing catch up. Lego's playing catch up too. But Lego's playing catch up in a way that I think this game might appeal to people who weren't into Disney Infinity or it, right? Like, there's so many people who love Legos now, buy Legos, have the Lego sets everywhere, that when, you're putting out more Lego stuff, and it's even if it's going to be like Amiibos, where you're buying the Ghostbusters and, Lego guys that are on their stands to put down at your desk to never play the game, that's money. They don't care.
Yeah.
I think that it's going to get me to play it more than I don't care about Skylanders. Disney Infinity I have and tried out when we went out on our own. They sent me a copy. And I was like, okay, this is fun, but it's not like enough for me to be invested in and love it. But as much as I love Lego games, if you give me Ghostbusters and then you give me Superman and then you give me, and there's all these little breadcrumbs to keep me buying and keep me playing, then yeah, sure.
Yeah. All right. At Mary Rums says,
Mary Rums.
Is it fair to consumers when DLC for a game is announced before the game is even released?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
fair.
I
definitely
hate
think
this
so.
fucking argument. I hate it when people forgot about day one DLC. I love day one DLC. I love the fact that I have a game, and if I enjoy this game, if I enjoy the first however many hours of it, I know there's already more content. You know what I mean? Like Valkyria Chronicles 2, when they're like, we're going to give you more missions every week, and like Freedom Wars, we're going to give you content every week and weapons and stuff. I was like, yes, great. I love the promise of support. I get it from the business side of it that it's a hook to make sure you don't go trade the game in.
Yeah.
But I also love it that you just are guaranteed that much support. How many games have there been that I do love, and I would be like, man, if you would just put out more stuff, I'd love to buy it and play it, but you don't know if that'll ever happen, or you get it forever and ever and ever later, right? Like Batman Arkham City was great about that, of like, hey, Arkham City's coming out, and there's going to be this Harley Quinn, or I think they just said at the beginning, there's going to be story DLC that'll come out, not just challenge rooms like Asylum, which I didn't care about and I didn't buy. But when you promised me stories, I was like, well, yeah, I'm totally in. I want to hold on to this forever.
I mean, I think the big argument is just like, oh, well, why didn't you just include it in the game to begin with? Like, why are you doing that? And I feel like when it is situations where that is true, then it's like, yeah, then it's bad. But for things like that where it's like, yeah, it is story, but it's side story. It's not part
Ancillary
of
content.
the story. If they're holding back the story, that's an issue.
It's not the reboot Prince of Persia.
Yeah.
Where you have to buy the real ending and stuff.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? That was
yeah.
bullshit, obviously. And there are the handful of examples like that. But when we're talking about like an Evolve character skin or something like that, it's like, get over it.
Evolve
Who
was a little
cares?
out of control. I was going to use that game as an example of totally out of control DLC, but generally I have no problem with it. It shows somewhat a fundamental misunderstanding or lack of understanding or ignorance of how games are made when people say, why isn't it just in the real game? It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like it's not like they like had a blueprint and we're like, oh, we're going to now shave this half of the game off and make it DLC. Like, that's not the way it works. A lot of times, Greg and I have talked about in the past, when a game goes gold earlier, they're insert and there's just time to waste. That's when a lot of DLC is made for like quite a few games. And I remember people freaking out about Mass Effect 3 specifically having day one DLC, and my whole argument was just like, listen, dudes, like, no one's holding a gun to your head making you buy this game, and no one's holding a gun to your head making you buy that DLC. The reason they put that DLC out is because people want more Mass Effect, and there's an assumption being made that it could have or should have or would have been in the original game if not for the day one DLC drive. It just shows a lack of understanding of the way games are developed, I think. It's not to say that some companies and some developers don't shave off portions of their game or portions of the plan to be like, well, we can release this later. The game's already big enough as it is. But it is to say that we can't judge things on the metric of how much can we shove more content. More content doesn't make a better game.
Right.
You know, like I think people need like I'd rather play a tight 5-hour game than a fucking laborious 20-hour game any day of the week. And if you give me that tight 5-hour game on a disc and you make me pay for the laborious bullshit that I don't want to play anyway, who cares? You know what I mean? Sometimes you reach your limit. Fallout's a great example, or Skyrim, where they release 4, 5, 6 DLC packs, like full stories. That's not going to be for everyone. And to complain and say like, well, the pit, Fort Pitt or whatever should have been in Fallout 3. It's like, well, the game's already 100 hours long. Like, how much more do you want? We have to just draw it back and approach it as a case by case basis. I think that people like need to chill out a little bit about the DLC arguments. It's getting a little old.
Arctic Sloth asks, why don't big name publishers like EA and Activision raise the price of their games and do away with microtransactions? I mean, I think the point of the microtransactions is those are what get people, and they make them spend more money.
Yeah,
It's
they're
like,
whale hunting.
Yeah,
And it works for them. The whales on a lot of these games are, even when you go into mobile space, when you talk about King and all these like developers are making millions and millions and millions of dollars a day. They're not making it off of their whole base, and hardly at all. They're making it off of 1 or 2% of the people. I'm sure EA and Activision would fucking love to raise the price of games, but they can't. And I think that ultimately, even though we're seeing kind of contrary things in Canada where prices of games are going up again, that's more of a monetary issue. I think games are going to go down in price. And this goes back to what we were talking about earlier in the show with the digital revolution and stuff. When you can cut out the middleman, you can cut out shipping and manufacture of discs and GameStop's cut and all that kind of stuff, games can only get cheaper. So the microtransaction thing shouldn't be troubling if it's done right. But we've talked about EA is a great example of Plants vs. Zombies 2, where I was desperate to just buy that game.
yeah.
And they're like, nope, you can't buy
Blast.
it. Yeah, it's like, you can't buy it. And I'm like, I'll give you $20 if you just leave me the fuck alone. And now since you're bothering me all the time, I'm not giving you shit. I played that entire game without giving them a fucking cent. You know what I mean? So if they're doing it cleverly, then it works. And if they're doing it like a bunch of assholes, then it doesn't work.
But I think with the microtransactions, for every 10 of yous, there's one person spending $30. Then there's another spending $100. You know what I mean? So
That's
I feel
the
like,
whale.
yeah,
The whole
just
mentality.
hedging their bets there.
They're not shy about talking about that kind of stuff, a lot of those developers.
And then DA Lar wants to know, game delays are often, but how come when they go gold early, they don't come out early? Like Witcher 3.
This is an example of a plan, sticking to the plan. I think that CD Projekt Red was probably given more time than they needed. But the date was already established, and it gives them time to patch the game too. So there's no reason to rush the game out, and you don't want to like jump your release date. It's like announcing an album 6 months before it comes out, and then be like, oh, it's available 3 weeks early. Like, that's bad marketing. That's bad for you. So even if the game's done,
everyone knows the May 19th, May 19th, May 19th. You've been saying it forever.
That's what's interesting though. Like, with music, you just said that, but it's like I feel like recently people have been doing that constantly, just because that creates those news headlines.
Well, I don't think that they've been announcing a date and then jumping in a month. I think a lot of people have been putting out records.
Well, I mean, like Kendrick
nowhere.
Lamar put out, like, he announced the date of like whatever it was, March 21st, and then he was like, whatever, it's out March 14th.
Yeah, but some of these things are happening because of leaks.
That wasn't leaked though. That was just he just did it.
Like, that happened though recently. A big album leaked. What was it?
I don't remember, but
Some female
Spice
artist.
Girls.
No, some female artist that I can't remember it. I think that we can't really compare. It's kind of apples and oranges. The music industry and the way they deal with albums is really.
it's different.
It also doesn't really matter anymore because it's just a single mentality now. But yeah, CD Projekt Red has nothing to lose by holding on to the game.
Yeah.
Releasing it early would be stupid. Because it gives them time to iron the game. Just because the game is like, people have to understand that the fundamental thing of a game being gold means it's playable and it's done and it's past certification. It is not necessarily finished. That's unfortunately kind of the nature of design today. And making games. Patch 1.01 will surely be available when Witcher 3 comes out, and it's going to have a bunch of shit on it, I'm sure. I'd be shocked if that game didn't have a day one patch. Everything does. So, yeah, give them time to breathe, and they also, again, stick to the plan. The publisher also has a plan. It's not only up to the developer.
Well, cool. Thank you guys so much for the first and last ever 17th episode of the Kind of Funny Gamescast. And thank you guys for listening and supporting all this stuff and supporting us with all of our Pro Flowers goodness and all that. Thank you, Greg, for bringing
You're welcome.
3 of them. I liked that.
Maybe one day there'll be 3 different ones.
Maybe. Hey, but whatever. These are steps. We're figuring this all out, and thank you guys for being here with us as we figure it all out. It's a lot of fun being here. And till next week, please leave comments down below if you're on YouTube, or just like tweet at us if you're on Patreon listening.
If you're
or
listening
whatever.
to the MP3 and your mom's already at the podiatrist, just look down and write it on the bottom of your chair. Don't worry about the bunion.
I like that.
No problem.
Yeah. Let us know what you think of Star Ocean 5 on the bottom of a chair somewhere.
Thank you.
That'll be nice.
Take
Until
a photo,
next week.
tweet it at us.